Welcome back, folks. My name is LastKnownMeal, and today we're going to be talking about the Stalker franchise and why I love it so much. I have been talking about Stalker for a while now, and thank you so much for all of the support I get actually on my Stalker videos. Because now with the announcement of Stalker 2, there is going to be a lot more people who are actually getting into this game or this franchise for the first time. They have no idea what Stalker is about and how does actually Stalker play out once you're actually playing the game. So I will go through the reasons why I think that Stalker is such a masterpiece when it comes to the franchise and when it comes to the IP, and why I think that Stalker 2 is going to succeed. Before we get into that, if you could please hit that like and subscribe button, that's all I ask. I tried not to run any sponsorships on this channel or any ads from third parties, because by you liking the video, you actually help it reach more people. So thank you so much for doing that, and let's get into the video. So I have been playing Stalker for a very long time. At first, when I came into this game, I was a kid, so I didn't know what I was getting into, and oh boy, I was about to find out how difficult and how scary and atmospheric Stalker was. So the first Stalker game I played was Shadow of Chernobyl, and I think to this day it's still my favorite Stalker game. Of course, Clear Sky and Call of Pripyat are amazing Stalker games, great games. But it might be me because of the nostalgia effect, or maybe because it was my first Stalker experience, which kind of stayed, you know, imprinted into my memory to this day, and that's why I think, for me personally, that is my favorite in the entire franchise. So the reason why I love Stalker so much, the first thing is atmosphere. To this day, there are only a few games which can capture an atmosphere well. And atmosphere is a combination of many things, of the level design, of the graphics, of the sound design, sound effects, what kind of enemies you are fighting, what kind of location you are in, what is the backstory of that location. When the location is Chernobyl, when it's Pripyat, when the location is the exclusion zone around it, which in itself, in its history, has a very grim story, a very dark story. So when you're playing Stalker, you kinda feel that. I don't know, it's maybe because the studio itself is Ukrainian, so they know how to capture that feeling really well. They know how to make you feel once you're playing throughout the game, especially to play around with your emotions and to play around with the level design in itself, as I said, because each part of the map in Stalker has a backstory, something which happened to that place. You can kind of see the remnants of everything which was there before. So just from that perspective, there is a certain depression level when you're playing this game, but I don't mean it in a bad way. I actually mean it in a very good, atmospheric, and a very immersive way. It's also one of those few games that I just like how it plays out. The story is good. I'm not gonna go into story too much because I know that a lot of people didn't play it, so I don't want to spoil anything, but there is a really good mix, in my opinion, between linear and non-linear gameplay in Stalker, because if you haven't played it already, Stalker map is semi-open world. You can go into certain areas whenever you want, and each area is like an open area you can explore freely, obviously with different things surrounding in that area. So you might have military, you might have duty, freedom, other factions, whatever, but in a nutshell, it's basically a semi-open world. Now in Stalker 2, they are going to give you a fully open world, which actually I find amazing, because they're going to take a different approach to that. They're going to give you a much open world without the loading screens, which of course was necessary, I believe, when these games were made and how they were made and everything from that standpoint. But now when they want to just take it to a whole different level, I think it's absolutely going to be amazing. So as I said, the first thing is definitely the atmosphere, the second thing, locations and the history behind it, third thing, the horror. I don't know if you played Stalker, but you are never safe in this game, and I felt it on my own skin, because whenever you are going through the world, through the exclusion zone, and whenever you drop your gun down just to take something else, maybe you want to take your PDA out, whatever, you are going to be most likely attacked. And that is one of those elements that I really like, and that is how easy it is for someone to take you out. A few bullets, especially if you're playing on a higher difficulty, and you are out. I mean, same goes for people that you fight. But when you combine monsters and when you combine people, there is real fear there, especially if you have to go somewhere, you're running out of ammo, you can save, but maybe your save is not the best, and you have to go through that particular spot to go through. Maybe it's going to be a military checkpoint. There is a lot of planning which can go into that, the way you actually go through that checkpoint, the way you handle certain missions in Stalker makes sense from that perspective, and that's why I like it. So GSC Game World was able to perfectly shape the game in its sense to make it as atmospheric as possible, to make it as the most realistic, of course, in a video game experience of that exclusion zone. Now, obviously, it is actually fiction, especially after the second incident, which kind of sets the story for Stalker. It is fiction on what happens there, but everything in the background obviously is not fiction. It's based on real historical events, which did happen. And to be honest, every time I played through Stalker, it was a different experience. I'm not talking from the mod perspective, I'm talking from just the game perspective. Every time it was different, especially in Shadow of Chernobyl, because sometimes I'm going to be somewhere, oh, military is attacking, maybe next time I'm gonna be there, military is not gonna be attacking, but there are so many things which do happen on the map, which lead to certain events, which just make the whole world more atmospheric, more immersive from that sense. And of course, I cannot deny the modding community. Modding in Stalker, modding community in Stalker are basically this. I cannot imagine Stalker now without the mods. Now, the first time I played Stalker, I played it without the mods, but if you really want to enhance your experience, because people, they made some insane things. They basically remade the game again, especially if you're gonna be going into Dead Air mod for Stalker, which is by far the most depressing mod I had ever seen. It's a really good mod, don't take me wrong, it's an amazing mod, very difficult to play if you never played Stalker, very difficult, insanely difficult, but it's good, because the modding community for Stalker is so strong that if you never actually modded Stalker, then I cannot describe you well how huge this community is. And that's also from that standpoint why I'm looking forward to Stalker 2, because Devs already said, yeah, we know about modders, we're actually getting in on that, modding community is gonna be there, modding support is gonna be there. So just from that standpoint, even if Stalker 2 has issues on release, the modding community is going to solve it, or the modding community is going to turn it into something else, because it's gonna happen, trust me. You're gonna have a lot of mods which were present on previous Stalker games like Dead Air and everything else. It is going to be porting, I believe, onto Stalker 2. People are gonna be making that, I'm sure of it. So from that standpoint, I'm also looking forward to the mods. But I'm telling you, one of the things which Stalker also did well was it aged well. I didn't think it was going to age well, because on one side we had Metro, which was actually made, I believe, from some people who were working on Stalker games in the past, so they wanted to make a different thing. They made Metro, and Metro was atmospheric, definitely, but Metro tells somewhat a different story from Stalker. And those two games, even though people think they're the same just because they're set in Russia or Ukraine or whatever, no, Metro and Stalker are totally different games, different ideas of the world and everything which does happen, because in Stalker the exclusion zone is dangerous, yes, but the rest of the world in Stalker is fine, it's okay. Just this cordon area is been completely closed by the military, but people still get in and they get out. But yeah, that's just the thing with Stalker and why I love it so much. So yeah, that was my kind of a talk around Stalker. Hopefully you enjoyed it, hopefully you learned something new about the game if you haven't already. If you never played it, I do actually urge you to play the games. Start with Shadow of Chernobyl, then Clear Sky, then Call of Pripyat. And again, I mean, you can go with mods for your first experience, but I would also recommend going through classic experience for every single Stalker game before you install a mod, but that's up to you. There's a lot of mods you can choose from. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and tell me down below, why do you love Stalker? What are the moments or things in the game that made you love Stalker a lot? So yeah, tell me down below. I will be reading through your comments, and as soon as something new comes up for Stalker 2, we will be of course talking about it. I'm very looking forward to that game, and I just cannot wait to play it finally. So yeah, that's it for today. This is LKM signing out. Don't forget to also follow us on Twitter and Discord, and I do have a Patreon page. If you wanted an extra way to support the channel, you can do it through the link below. And yeah, huge thanks to the current Patreon supporters, and yeah, this is LKM signing out, and stay classy everyone. Bye bye.